Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, Randall Hawks. How are we doing out there? Look who's in the house. I still haven't learned which way I'm supposed to point, but you get my point. Mr. Sanderson, the music man. How you doing, Mr. Sanderson?
Doing well, Miss Hurdy. How are you?
I am Peachy King. It is a beautiful day, and we are blessed, man.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm liking the facial hair. Look at all that gig. Is that the quarantine hair?
Yeah, I figured I wouldn't be out in public for 4 months, so I figured might, try something new.
And then Miss Hardy rings you up, and you're going to be out there for 1,500.
There you go.
There you go. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. So today is May 6th, people. You know me, my cheesy days, but today's one of my favorite days. You know what it is, Mr. Sanderson?
What is it, Miss Hurdy?
Well, we all know it's day after Cinco de Mayo, so all of us ate a lot of tacos last night, probably.
Yeah.
Today is no diet day.
Oh, good.
I call that the last 8 weeks, personally.
Isn't that the truth?
I like my blueberry Pop-Tarts for breakfast.
I
don't think they fall in. Actually, they could be considered a fruit.
I could go. Yeah. Well, blueberries, that counts for something, right?
It counts for something. So no diet today, so people go out there and enjoy yourself. Today, somebody just let the dogs out. Who let the dogs out? I did. They're fine. Today is also National Golf Day, so we got quite a few teachers who are into the golfing. So most of our PE coaches, I'm sure you are out on the field, possibly right now. But hey, enjoy your day.
Golfing is a social distancing sport.
It is a social distancing sport. That was hard to say there for a second. Social distancing sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today's also School Nurse Day, so thank you to our nurses. They do an amazing job. We thank you for what you do. And then, of course, today's Teacher Appreciation Week, and I've been pushing this all week. Kids, please send an email to your teachers or your club sponsors or whoever, and just, give a little shout out and tell them how much you appreciate them or the favorite time you had in their class.
I'll put out my tip jar, and they can just drop off gift cards or whatever they want. My whole tip jar.
You want them to have your home address?
It wouldn't surprise me how many people actually show up at my doorstep. So.
Oh, well, all right then.
Yeah.
So I'm going to embarrass Mr. Sanderson with Teacher Appreciation Week, and look at his face. He's like, oh God, what is she going to do? Our PTSA did nominations, and he won the Superman Award. I think that's what it was called, right? Superman
Award, yep.
Superman Award for having a positive influence on the males at our school, which he does. He gives his time and so much effort to make sure that our males are strong, not only in academics, but in what's the word I'm looking for, in their stand-up, in their moral, in their emotional character. So Mr. Sanderson, thank you for everything you do.
Of course, it was a welcome surprise. I honestly didn't know about it, so it was really cool when Miss Collis told me that I had one.
Very cool. It's well deserving. So, couple of interesting things today in history. In 1937, do you know the Hindenburg disaster happened?
Oh wow!
For those of you that don't know, it was like a big hot air balloon, and it exploded.
It's pretty tragic, actually.
It what?
It was pretty tragic.
Oh, absolutely. There were people on board. It was like sold as kind of like a cruise ship in the sky, kind of. They had a party going on up there. There's a I can't think of the name of it, but there's a movie about the Hindenburg, and it showed the people inside and all that. You'd have to ask someone smarter than me to explain why and all that. Something about
it was I'm sure there was some type of gas or something on board that when it caught fire, it immediately just went.
Yeah.
No, it was pretty sad.
Yeah. We got a couple of birthdays in the house. From history, kind of interesting. Adriana Cosalati. She was born in 1916. And you might ask, who is she? Who cares? She was the voice of Snow White.
Oh, wow.
In 1937.
Wow.
So imagine, hello, because this Snow White was awfully sweet and soft and nice. And this is why I don't get hired by Disney people. Here's the funny part. You know how much money she was paid for that contract?
How much?
$970.
Oh my goodness. Well, $970 in the 30s, man. It's a lot of money.
It was a lot of money. I wonder if she like worked it into the contract where she got like, it's not called gratuity, but you know how like actors are paid more royalties. That's it.
Yeah.
So I wondered if they were with it back then in the Hollywood business to do that royalty contract.
Well, I have no doubt. The way Disney operates, I have no doubt they had something like that set up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody who is near and dear to us, Mrs. Allen, your birthday is today. So happy birthday to you.
Happy
Should
birthday.
we sing for her so she can cringe, or should we skip the song and that's her birthday present?
I say we just blow up our phones with memes tomorrow. Memes and gifts.
That's a great idea. That's
Yes.
a great idea.
Yeah.
So my gift to you is not singing. For some reason, Miss Allen doesn't like my voice.
Mm.
I don't get it.
And there's a reason I don't sing either, and she understands why.
All right, Mr. Sanderson, you ready for quick draw?
Let's
Rapid
do it.
fire? All right, ready. And because you're music, I picked music ones.
Awesome.
Song you get stuck in your head.
Dvorak 9.
If you were a DJ, what kind of music would you play?
Like folk music.
Favorite way to discover new music.
Spotify.
Song you can't stand.
Ooh, Baby Shark.
You make me want to sing it now. Okay, I won't. Do you wear green on St. Patrick's Day?
Only because my wife reminds me to.
One word to describe your BFF.
Fun.
What's more fun, sleepover or party?
Party.
Do you know how to yo-yo?
Used to. I did.
Fun picnic in the park or fun night out?
Fun night out.
What's the worst chore ever?
Oh God. Folding laundry.
Folding laundry. I applaud you for folding your laundry. Playground game that you miss.
Loved Foursquare.
Foursquare. We should get a game. We should get a faculty Foursquare game going.
I get really competitive though, so I might show my true colors. You know.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that game where the ball was on the tall rope pole and then you had to hit it. It was like volleyball on a rope.
Castle ball or something. Is that what it is?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. Would you describe yourself as extroverted, introverted, or in the middle?
I would say in the middle. It depends on the situation.
Celebrity you're the most like.
Celebrity and the
Love
most
one.
like. Ooh. I think my wife would disagree, but what's his John Krasinski?
I love him.
I try.
That's some good news guy, right?
Yeah.
Yes, so good. And if you had all the money in the world, what would you splurge on besides buying me some food?
A house. A good house, so you don't have to do anything to.
There you go. You passed. You were like,
Hey.
You were on, buddy. Before we sign off, you have anything extra? Anything you want to tell your kids since we won't see them?
This week has made me think a lot, and I've got a couple messages from students, and I really miss just being at school, you know. At the end of the day, we can do all this work for the kids, and they can do all the work for us, but it really doesn't mean anything if we're not together. And especially music, you know, that's something we really miss. You know, I can watch videos all day of kids playing, but without that, you know, big group,
right?
You know, it doesn't work. So I do miss my kids, and I'm looking forward to some return of normalcy whenever that is.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you another question because I just thought of it, because this is how I flow. What made you become a music teacher?
You know, this sounds cheesy and rehearsed, but it's not. My middle school orchestra director. You know, we didn't have the wheel because I grew up in Atlanta, right? So we had like 2 weeks, like 9 days before school, you know, really got started, that we saw band, we saw orchestra, we saw chorus, and just something snagged me with the orchestra teacher there, and I continued through 6th through 8th grade, and yeah, she was just always pushing me to do things better, to do extra things, and it really stuck. And it stuck because I actually had a bad experience in high school. I didn't really get along with the orchestra director there, and even through those 4 years, I still made it through, music ed and all that. So my middle school orchestra director
Very
for sure.
cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat, especially to hear about the middle school teachers, because a lot of times, by the time you get to be our age,
Mm-hmm.
you don't remember a whole bunch. Well, my age, but you don't remember a whole bunch. So that's a very cool story. About how many instruments do you know how to play?
Oof. How many instruments would I be comfortable playing is the good question. So
That's the hard part, because like my daughter was thinking about being a band teacher, and I'm like, you have to play them all. And she's like, not all of them, Mom.
yeah, I mean, well, I learned them all. If we count all the ones I've had experience on them, you have the 4 strings, so violin, viola, cello, bass. I learned flute, clarinet, and saxophone. Sort of percussion. We won't really count that. And I did really well on trombone.
Wow.
Yeah, and the band directors have to do that with strings too. But if I were to go out in public and play something comfortably, it would definitely obviously be cello, because that's my number one, and then bass. I did a lot of bass in high school and have kept up with it. So
very cool. You are quite the talented man.
I try.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Sanderson, for coming on. Dixie is saying goodbye. Dixie.
Bye, Dixie.
Dixie. All right. Thanks so much for joining us today, people, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.